Let there be light, and there was light. Okay, words of the said God. The gods are really working harmoniously now, and I am loving it. So, we are looking at death because I feel for many of us we are going through a transition. We are dying of the old self. In fact, I even had a dream where my skin was just peeling, and I feel that it's very transformational, and it wasn't painful. There was just new skin, was just the old skin was just shedding, and really appreciative of that insight, that divine insight. And I think that that's what it's happening for many of us. So, but for us to understand that is really to understand death, and to understand what we mean by death. It's really the cycles. If we were to examine death even closer, we would know perhaps that happens in our every breath. The same thing that happens with every breath that we breathe out, or we exhale, or we inhale, is the cycle of death. It's just how we have been conditioned to look at the aspect of our transition into other realms that we have not known or familiarized ourselves with, and basically that's what our concern is really about. But if we are mindful, we will be able to understand that whatever we need to know, we are already being prepared for it, or we already it's already available to us. And for many who are open and ready, have gone through out of body experiences to understand or get an inclination, or people who have had near death experience as well. So there are so many ways that divine intervention really honors or honors our wishes. So I feel this is giving us a very clear indication. This is really looking at more the on the spectrum of the life or death and resurrection of Christ, we should say. But looking at the death, we have been looking at 13, and we see that there is a strong correlation with the word death inside the middle of the word, I should say. In the middle of the word death, we have it, the word it or et. We can form those words with death. I'm sure there are other words we could form with that, but that's not the real purpose now. But this is a number 13, and it's the cycle that we go through. Basically, it takes us to the cycle of 9, and it also it means that we also go through an agreement. We go through an agreement. We go through this B here, which has a numerical value of 2. And when we do the numerical value for 2, we see that it also gives us 13. So B has a numerical value of 13. And of course, I won't even bother going to this now. But if we just do this, we see we are 13 here. Basically, it's the line of agreement. It's the shaking of hands. This is why we do this. We shake hands. That forms the equal signs. Two arms together, two lines forms the equal sign, and that forms the bond here, which is the 13. Okay. Now, what I really want to look at here as well, I just want to consolidate this that I did on my last presentation. So good and evil. This is the tree of good and evil. So we saw, it says the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which I have here, but I've broken down good and evil here, and see, in fact, the and, we can have a question mark with and, but good evil. Or if we wanted to, we could still have and evil. So let's see, for 4 letters on either side, so that gives us 8. And meaning this, it has a numerical value of 5, this has a numerical value of 3, so 5 plus 3 also gives us 8. And when we write the word form, because we don't always get this, but it just shows the magic of the scriptures as well. When we add this together, the 5, which is 24, 2 plus 4, and 3, which is 11, adding this together also gives us 8. Now I'm looking at this 3 8s at 24, gives us 24, which coincides with Mother Eve's signature, or we say signature when she says, "Let there be light," and there was light. Those words came to 24. Of course, when we do the numerical value for 24, because 20 is 8 and 4, F-O-U-R, is 6. Adding this together gives us 14. I hope you can see this. 14 gives us 5. And we can see that Mother Eve is still very, very present here. Mother Eve gave the spell of light, "Let there be light," and there was light, which came to 24. We see that Mother Eve's essence and signature and vibration is right here, 1 4, and that encapsulates the 14 gods that we have. That's why it is important, and no wonder there is something about the hour here that is to remind us about the inclusion of all that we are. This is why Christ too said, when we pray to the Father, say "our." This is all to remind us. Okay, so we have these 8s, and these 8s in fact are really like this knot. They are knots. It's like a rubber band just twisted. Okay, now the word knot is something we need to examine as well. So join me, or stay with me. Let's just do this one. Okay, so this is what we are now. So this is, let's see if I can get the verse on here. So this is Genesis chapter 2 verse 17. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So we could see I keep saying the word "the" also, and there are 2 "thes" there, which is telling us about 6 and 6, about creation. So it's "but of the tree of the knowledge of good." It's not saying "but of the tree of knowledge," it's "of the knowledge of good and evil. Thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die." There is a lot of revelation from this. I hope I do get the chance to really deconstruct the numerical values, or show how this is really a numerical construct that has a lot of wisdom in it to help us evolve into the gods that we are. Okay, so the word tree is, and I kind of smile because I heard someone, or there are people who pronounce tree as or 3 as tree. So it kind of really made me smile when I saw this, and I thought, wow. So they say tree meaning 3, and so that is really wonderful, I thought. Okay, so because 3 or tree here is 21, so 2 plus 1 is 3. So that's very dynamic. So here we are. I have done this, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So if we add this together, we can add this "and," or we could leave it, but it gave us some insight to see and understand this. So we have good and evil already equals, we could say that's 9 and evil. So when you add, it's like perhaps saying when you add the 2 together, you have the 9, of course, you have 9 when you add them together. And then we have 3 plus 6 is 9. Here's another 9, 18, and 19, 20, and this is 24. So, wow. So this is 24 right here. 2 plus 4 equals 6. So, I think I did do 24, and we had 24 as, let's see, did we have 24 as 20 is 8 and 4 is 6. Yes, so we did this. Yes, I added that and it came to 14. So 24, of course, has the 14 vibration as well, which is 5. It has that vibration, but it equals 6 here, like the said God, SAID. The said God, which is Mother Eve. Mother Eve is the spokesperson. She is the said God. She's the one with the word, the letters. So this is 1194. Adding this together, this is 10, 14, 15. 1 plus 5, we could see 15 is right here. 15 is central. Holding is like she's in the middle, holding the 4 other digits on either sides. Okay. And so we can add here, this is 6 plus 9 is also 15. So we can see that this here, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, is still representation of Mother Eve as the said God. The said God, and of course when we did add, say God as well, would be like 6 plus 8 would give us 14. 1 plus 4 is 5. So God equals 8. And 6, of course, adding this together would give us 14. Okay, so no matter how we look at it, we see Mother Eve, the said God, is quite present here. And that is to do with what this tree of life was all about. So my early presentations on this was that Mother Eve is the serpent, or was the serpent, or was Satan in the garden. So basically, when we hear of the tree of good and evil, when we hear of the wisest of all creatures, Mother Eve encapsulate this. There's the 6, and we are of course of 6 because we are of Genesis, which is 7 5 5 5 1 9 1 10 20 32 33, and that's the age. Of course, we learned that Christ died. So basically, being of 6 here, there is a dying that is necessary, because 6, and when we do this dying, of course, 6 becomes 7. Well, we realize ourselves as 7. This is 196, 1916. 1 plus 6 is 7. So this is 1 plus 6, 7. So Genesis, this 33, is very, very important that we pay attention to this process that we are on. The word people or person also equals, both words equals 33. And so that tells us a lot about our makeup. The 666 would be reflective of people, P-E-O-P-L-E, which is 33, or person, or Genesis. And just to see how many letters are here as well. This is 3, this is 6 letters, this is 6 letters, and this is 7 letters. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 3 6s, 18 plus 1, 19. That's the journey we are making. Yes. Okay. I think I have covered, there's much more on depth, because really I wanted to do dive. I want to examine the language that has been used when, for instance, where thou shalt not eat of it, and we read this in Genesis chapter 2:17, where supposedly God is saying, thou shalt not eat of it. And then in chapter 3, verse 3, which is the 33 vibration here again, where Eve is more or less saying, according to our understanding, is that, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden. And this is giving some sort of ambiguity as well, in the sense of, are we really talking about the same tree? But let's just take it for on face value. Yes, God have said, ye shall not surely die. So there were two things said: thou shalt surely die, thou shalt surely die. And okay, I have done the numerical value for this. I think I did roughly, but let's look at this. I'm not too happy with the writing here, but it's the time of night. So this is 10, 2, 8, 6, 3. 6, 3. So this is 9, this is 19, so this would be 1. 1 plus 9 is 10, so this is 1. This is 10 plus 6 is 16, so this is 7. Surely, let's look at surely in a way that I can see it, because surely, thou shalt surely die. So this is 1, 3, 9, 5, 3, 7. I think this is correct. Let's do it here so we can see it. Okay, 1, 3, 9, 5, 3, 7. This is 10, 19, 24, 27, 28. So 2 plus 8 is 1. 2 plus 8 is 10, but it's 1. Okay, that's the when I'm tired I count ahead. Okay, and die is 9. Okay, 9. So 9, 10, 17, 18. 18. So we have this 18. Perhaps that's why it is said, I heard this not too long ago, that 18 is really catastrophic number, that always something evil or bad comes from 18. But I believe it is important we understand the vibrations that life needs to do its cycle. We need to accept life cycle of birth and life and death. Okay, so we had this, thou shalt surely die. And the other one that I want to compare it with is that ye, let's see, where it said, ye shall not eat of it. Okay, thou shalt not eat of it. Is that what I have? Thou shalt, oh, not eat of it. That's what I really wanted. Okay, that's not what I intended doing, but let's just read these two things just to show, because I may not go through all this now. It's someone's giving an account, or supposedly Eve is giving the account. This is how we learned it, that thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. And there, but of the fruit of the tree of wheat, the tree which is in the midst of the garden, thou, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it. So that's two different things. Neither shall ye touch it. I don't think God had said about not touching it. Perhaps God did say that, but that's the account that is given here. Lest ye die. Okay, so I won't go into this right now. We'll do this another time. I think I need to exercise self love here. I can feel my throat is saying that's enough for tonight. So I'm going to do this. It's a cycle of life and death. So now the this is the dying of this cycle right now. Mini death. Okay, thank you for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed this series of life and death and number 13. Okay, please leave your comments, likes, and so on. And of course, just to really highlight, Mother Eve here is really teaching us about, again, to see about the number 13. Of course, I did count the outer circles and the action of number 8. So the 5 external circles on Mother Eve's face, we could say, is plus 8 is also 13. Or we could say that the mouth, to make it more concise, more precise, the mouth equals 5, and of course the eating of that act is 8, so that equals 13. So there was death. It's like when we eat something, there is a cycle. Once it has passed our mouths, or in our mouths, there is a cycle. There's a death, and in the crushing of all that which is taking or happening in our mouths, in the digestive system, we could say, which of course we excrete quite a lot of what we eat. So meaning there is a death in that thing, and there is a life in it, and that's what life and death is all about. Okay, thank you. And the number 13.